Hey, in this video, we're going to answer your most popular questions about Amazon product listing images. And today, I'm accompanied by Kamal, who's the founder and CEO of Amzonestep, which is a firm that specializes in Amazon listing optimization, Amazon listing images, and many other things. So I'm glad to have Kamal here. We're connected on LinkedIn, and today he's here with us to help with the Q&A. So Kamal, man, please introduce yourself to us, man. Tell us about yourself, your story, about your company, man. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Bova. Thanks for having me first. Yeah, so what we do at Amzonestep is, as you mentioned, help with the listing images and stuff like that. So before I talk about services, I'll just introduce myself. So I started selling on Amazon in 2015. So I started with the retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. I did some wholesale for about some time. Then I ended up doing private label. So private label, worked pretty well for me. Then in 2018, beginning of 2018, I started Amzonestep. So yeah, so this is here where it all began. So this is all about myself and my experience with Amazon.
And man, you mentioned that you come from India. That's pretty exciting. As I told you before, I've traveled India. It was one of the first most beautiful places I've seen in northern India in the world. And generally the people were awesome. And yes, you moved to Canada from India about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, so I moved here in 2010. So I was an international student, studied there for 3 years in electronics and telecommunication. Yeah, then ended up doing a corporate job, worked in a telecom firm. Then in 2015, I realized that that Amazon is a great opportunity. So yeah, I started watching some YouTube videos, and I'm like, yeah, this is fascinating to me that how everything works. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. And yeah, so that's how it all started with Amazon.
Yeah, man, Amazon has a big opportunity for sellers, for service providers. It's like a huge, really huge thing. And I'm really enjoying to be a seller as well. And well, kind of YouTube person that shares information there. And yeah, man, you have a company that you've created about 2 years ago, even more now, right? And
And
I think,
yeah, and especially after the COVID-19, not after, like, COVID is still there. I mean, it's a
kind
great
of,
opportunity. Everyone has no option. If you run a brick and mortar store, you have no option. You got to go online, you got to go e-commerce. So right now it's a great time to be on the platforms like Amazon, even Shopify, or have your own website set up. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's one of the best times to jump on Amazon.
yeah, I agree, man. And for us Amazon sellers and for the Amazon sellers watching, as we mentioned the topic for Amazon listing pictures, and we have a lot to cover today, so hopefully the viewers are going to enjoy. So let me ask you some questions, man, and as an expert, I'd like to hear your opinion, your points of view. I think it's going to be interesting. So let me ask you the first question. And so first question that I have is like, what are the common mistakes sellers do while creating images on Amazon? Maybe you have some common mistakes to share with us?
Yeah, there are a lot of them, but I'll just share some of the common mistakes that sellers do. First thing, you might come across some listings which only has like one main image, and rest of the images, they're empty. They're not even using those. So first thing the sellers need to do is just at least use all the images that Amazon allows you to do. Amazon allows up to 9 images on your listing. If not 9, have 7 at least. And that is what that's pretty common mistake if you're into a retail arbitrage or wholesale industry. People would just put one main image. So that is one of the common mistakes. So I would highly recommend put at least putting 7, so that people can engage more. And other mistakes, what sellers do is they try to do it themselves, and which at first they might think that they're saving money, but it's costing them a lot because it ends up having lesser conversion rate over time. So I know you can take some great photos with your iPhone, but that's just not enough. If you want to compete on one of the biggest e-commerce channels, you have to stand out. You have to make sure your images are high quality and you're standing out from the crowd. Unless you are a professional photographer, try not to do it yourself. Hire an expert who understand the Amazon requirements, who understand what will convert well, who understand who's got professional equipments and everything. So try to get it done from a professional. And the same mistake is also tied up, because when they try to save money, they don't budget the listing images cost when they're about to launch the product. They're mainly thinking about, okay, this is the money I need for the inventory, this is the money I need for the PPC, this much money for the shipment and everything, but they don't consider the Amazon listing images cost at first. So they need to consider that this will cost them few $100. So try to have that or try to adjust that in your pre-launch plan so that you don't expect the unexpected and you run out of money or you're having a poor quality images just because you ran out of cash. And so these are some of the common mistakes. And the other thing that a lot of sellers do, they try to put pictures which are mainly white background only. I know it's great to have some hero shots on the images, it's great to show all the angles, but try to mix up with some lifestyle and infographics images so that it's not just the white background. There are so many distractions on the Amazon's page. When the buyer is on the Amazon page, they just don't see your listing. They see the sponsored products. They see customer who viewed this also viewed this. They see display ads. They see bunch of other sellers trying to target you with the sponsored ads. So there is a lot of distraction. So you want to make sure that you're engaging your buyers as much as possible so that they don't scroll down and get distracted with it. So, and the way you can engage them more is by using all the images and trying to engage with the, engage with the buyers. So these are some of the mistakes that, a lot of sellers do.
So essentially, one of the biggest is that people don't fill all their images. They just put one. And as you mentioned, that's common with retail arbitrage. I've never sold retail. I only do private label. It's still common in private label as well. People just, put the main image, but I see on many arbitrage products, just one picture.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and since you talked about the private label, the other thing, the biggest mistake with the private label sellers, they use images from Alibaba or they get the image from their supplier and they try to use it. Even though you're trying to save money, get a graphic designer or editor so that they don't look the exact same way, or have your logo stamped into those logos so that you don't get the hijackers on your listing images. So yeah, that's a great, thanks for reminding. So with the private label, it's your own brand. Make sure if you have a great packaging, showcase that packaging so that you don't get the hijackers, so people know that it's a brand. People, they do go with the custom packaging, but they're using the Alibaba or supplier images and they don't even have your logo, right? So that is one of the very common mistakes with the private label sellers.
Yeah, that's right, man. And you've also mentioned the other one, which is people, once they're starting, they don't budget it out. So then they just think, well, I'm going to order some, 100 kitchen knives. So I'm going to pack them in nice boxes. Let's start selling Amazon. Woo! But wait, you need to sell it with the pictures. And that's your salesman. That's 24/7 there. And also we mentioned the amount of pictures that you should feel like the 9, and on mobile we see the 7, so people should feel at least the 7 with, and not, as you mentioned, also with boring images. So it's not only white background, white background, which it's still fine. Yes, it's better than nothing. However, if you add, as you mentioned, some lifestyle, some hero shots, some infographics, then there's kind of a story in the listing, which makes it much more appealing to the browsers that they're watching the listing. And so yeah, these are the common mistakes. Do you think of any other mistakes? Maybe let me think as well.
There's a lot of them. There's one other common mistake I would say, when when they go with the slightly lower budget editor, their images look photoshopped, right?
Yeah, of course.
No, that's even worse than having, right? That's a big turnoff. Then people are like, okay, I don't know if I should buy the product because it looks so fake. So it's, instead of getting a bad Photoshop, you can, people can immediately tell that, the product is, being stamped on something, and try to avoid. That's also, great. That's a, good reminder that a lot of people do that. It all happens when you try to cut down the cost, and which cost them more when you think that you're saving money initially, but no, it's hurting your sales when your listing looks unprofessional.
I wouldn't recommend saving on this one. I mean, I would recommend saving, however, saving smart, find the service that you see that is that does work, and it can be even expensive, depends on what you like, what you want. However, when I started with my first product, we also straight away, we took a photo shoot because that's what the course told us. So I just hired a professional that did it for me.
That reminds me of something, Vova, that Amazon listings, they are unique. Mm-hmm. You need to have a product photography skill. You also need to have a graphic design skill. You also need to have that artsy creativity how to make that image look. And you also need to have understanding of Amazon, that what will convert well. So it's not just one skill set, it's a mixture of multiple skill set that creates a great Amazon listing image.
Yeah. So these are a few common mistakes, man. And yeah, another one I would add is like lower quality kind of image. So, well, it's kind of connected over people. Yeah, they take the ones from Alibaba and the like, it's not HD. It's not HD, it just looks LD. And that's also not that good. We'd rather have it on HD. All right, these are the common mistakes, man. And well, for example, now person understands, well, I don't want to make these mistakes, but how does he know? Like, how does he know how to hire the right talent? Like, how would you pick the right talent? How do you know how to hire the right talent for good images kind of thing?
Yeah. So the first thing, there are multiple platforms where you can hire the right talent. There's a Free Up, which is pre-vet for Amazon sellers. There's a Upwork, there's a Fiverr. There are some great agencies who do, great job at that. But as a seller, what you need to do first is at least ask for their portfolio. No matter what platform you're
Mm,
hiring from, ask them for some portfolio. Hey, can you send me some live examples with that you have created, right? That is number one. Maybe ask for some case studies. Hey, any listing images that you did which brought good conversion rate or something, things like this. Maybe ask some interview questions. Ask them, what are the Amazon requirements, how many images can we have, what are the what's the pixel size. So when you ask them these Amazon related questions, you ask them, hey, how does the variations work? Let's say I have a product. If they are expert, they would know how variations work,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
what are the Amazon requirements are. So these are some of the basic questions, but that can help you identify who's the right talent, no matter where you're hiring from. If you're lower on the budget, maybe Fiverr is a good place for you. If you need to work with someone in long term, maybe go with the Upwork or Free Up. And if you need something really done professionally and you don't want the headache of giving them instructions, do this, do that, then maybe go with an agency. But end of the day, these are some of the questions, asking for portfolio, asking for their experience case studies, asking them some interview questions can really, take the noise out. And in the end, you will end up working with some great talent. And if you're still not sure after doing all this, hire two people. If you need 7 images, maybe give 4 to one and 3 to other. And that way you will know who's a better, instead of just putting all money in one designer. Maybe hire two, and that's how you will figure out maybe who does the better job. And if someone does a better job, and then you can hire the same person over and over again for your future, so
for
that way you're
sure.
not testing every time. So these are some of the things that you can do to hire great talent.
Yeah, you're right, man. You gotta know who you're working with. So for the viewers, don't be shy to ask questions. Ask any question you want because that's your money. You're investing your money, and just see who's with working with you, who you're working with. Ask questions. Ask for portfolios. And as Kamal mentioned, you can hire two people and see what this one brings, what this one brings, and use also, I would say, recommendations of other people. So if other people recommend, you can read the reviews of a firm or ask around in groups as well. So this way you can kind of find people that are recommended as well. And yeah, usually also it goes by the price. Usually you can find lower price places, maybe like Fiverr. Usually the word quality is, but yeah, with all the respect to Fiverr people, they are awesome and they do great jobs, but just generally, yes, it seems that the lower level is present there a little bit if you compare it to bigger agencies.
Yeah, and a lot of sellers, as you mentioned, Vuva, that they're part of the seller groups. You can, the word of mouth also works great. If you know someone who's gone a better results with someone, go with those people, right? So because then you know that it's proven and tested with your fellow sellers. So that's
Mhm.
also one of the great way to find the right talent.
I see, man. And which brings me, Kamal, to the next question, which is kind of connected to the images. So on the images, should we use real models or should we go with stock photo, or when should we do that? What do you think about this? Real models versus stock photos?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Vova. So a lot of the sellers, they don't. You'll be surprised to know that many sellers, they don't even understand the difference between stock images and the real life photographers. So maybe just for sellers who don't know it yet,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a brief. So the stock images are the licensed photos of like the common places, common events, graphics, or any stock images which are licensed and copyright free. So those are called stock images. You can get those from adobestock.com or shutterstock.com. So what you end up doing is, just put your product on those stock images and blend it really nicely. That's what the stock images. Real life photography, when you are hiring the real models and they are using your product and the photos are taken that way. So this is the difference. And when should you use the stock images? If you're someone who is just starting out, you're lower on the budget, I would highly recommend going with the stock images because they're very easy to revise, they are cheaper, and they're license free. You own those images. So you can go with that option. If you're someone who's got a little bit bigger budget, or you want someone to be face of your brand and you don't want to compete with other sellers, you need to have your own unique identity, go with the real life photographers. The other things where I would recommend real life photography, when there are not a lot of stock images available and your product is something very unique, then you have no option because you can't find stock images. Now you have to go with the real life photography, right? So same thing with the stock images. If you have a lot of stock images available, go with them because end of the day, it's a license free. Get a good graphic designer or Photoshop expert who can put your product in there and it doesn't look Photoshopped. And that way you can go with the stock images as well. And maybe I can tell a little bit about the pros and cons about stock images and the real life photography. If you go with the real life photography, it's going to be very hard to revise those images. Let's say you hire someone, hey, take my food, take my photos with the food, and maybe the food might not be cooked perfectly. The shots, or maybe if you have a beach product and the weather's not good, that's getting delayed and you can't revise. Once you have the images, now you have to rehire the models, now you have to rehire the photographer to get the images right. So that's
Expensive.
why it can be very expensive and it can be very time consuming. So these are some of the the cons with the real life photography. But the good thing about the real life photography is that no one is competing against you. You are the ones, you own those images and you are raising the bar. You have your face of the brand, those people, those models, and it looks real, it looks professional. So you can't go wrong if the images come out nicely with the real, with the real life. The good thing about stock image, if you don't like something, go to the Photoshop expert or the editor or the company you have hired. Hey, you know what? I don't think this image is working out. Maybe let's change it. And it's super easy to revise and it doesn't take, with the stock images, you can get the work done in about 3 to 4 days, maximum 1 week. But with the real life photography, there's a lot of things involved. You need to hire people, work on their schedules, weather, and lots of other things which are involved. And that can take anywhere between 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get the results. And if you're someone who's launching pretty quickly, maybe, stock images would be a better option for you guys. And if with the real life photography, maybe other point I could add, let's say your product is a pet product. Now you have hired, now you need to pay for the pet and also the pet owner, and it can take more than this expected time. Let's say you book their photo shoot for 3 hours, but they don't understand that they're booked for 3 hours. They work on their own schedule. Same thing with the babies. So these are some of the pros and cons of stock images and real life photography. And based on your requirements, you guys can make the decision that what option would work better for you guys. So yeah, so this is all about stock images and real life photography.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, I do on the listings, we do all the time photography. We hire photographer. We work a lot with photographer from Kiev, and he did like amazing works. Nothing to say. Expensive, true, and not easy to communicate. My partner was communicating with him, but yes, the quality is awesome. However, you need to remember, as you mentioned, I think it was point number 3 or 4, one of your latest points. You said that if your product, for example, is a pet product, you have to have a dog owner, you have to have more things. So it would be harder to create your desired photo shoot sometimes. And with the stock photo, depends on the niche as well, because you mentioned some niches have less stock photos, but usually with stock photos, it will be definitely cheaper, like no matter how you look at this. And yeah, you could do more revisions, and generally and as you mentioned, also a good Photoshop expert will do amazing job. Now I do it less. I also have a service for this. Like we do mainly infographics. All right. So, and the guy that does it, he's a wizard, like 13 years of experience. So it's pretty cool. Now we do it less because I don't have much time for all this stuff. Right. And that's why I either refer my friends to people because I used to do it, but just don't have time for this. However, he did magic, like with things you wouldn't believe that can be Photoshop. And these people exist. Some people think that, oh, it's not possible to Photoshop like a boss, but it is. Yes. So yeah, man, cool. That's these are the points about the stock and the lifestyle photography. Now, one of the other things I would like to ask you is something that all of the sellers will have to deal with, and is the main image. Like, so, well, unless they sell a product that is suppressed, and which is impossible logically. So, so how to make your main image stand out, man? Like, how do we? What can we do? Like, what kind of tricks you have for us? Because this is very interesting. I think. Yeah.
That's really interesting, and it's a little bit tricky one too, because Amazon, they do have specific requirements when it comes to the main image. You can't have any logo, you can't have any badges or any fancy stuff. You can't really do, because now Amazon is getting smarter. They are suppressing the listings. Even they're not even uploading the images if you have that kind of stuff. If they find out, they'll suppress your listing, and that's going to hurt your ranking and everything. So how to make your main image stand out? There's few things that you can do. Number one, when you do take a main image, when your editor or photographer gives you the main image, make sure the product is covering as much area as possible of the main image. Try to cut out, Amazon says 85%, but why 85%? Try to go like even 90, 95. How much area you can potentially cover that. It has to be a square image. Cut the white background as much as possible so that the product fills up the main image. Why I'm saying this is because when people are searching for a keyword, if your product looks bigger than your competitors, the chances are they're more likely going to click on that because your product looks bigger than others. They can easily see what exactly it is. When on the other, your competitors, they might have a product which looks smaller, and especially on the phone, you don't get a lot of space. The main image looks even smaller on the phone, so you really need to make sure your main image is popping out. So that is one thing. Second thing you can do is come up with a unique angle that no one else is using, so that people, they get attracted. They're like, okay, let me check what that is, what kind of product that is. Let's say I'm searching for a coffee mug, and your coffee mug is placed in such a way that people know that it's a coffee mug, but they still get attracted to your image. So try to come up with a unique angle which people can attract fast. And the other thing that you can do is make sure your quality is good, because the better the picture quality is, more sharper it's going to look on the search results, and that's going to increase your click-through rate very fast. So these are some of the things that you can do which are within the Amazon's terms of service. I see a lot of people, they try to do shadow effect or mirror reflection, or they put some props or food or badges, banners. I mean, you can get away with it for some time, but that's not the ideal way of doing it. If you're serious about your business, try not to do that kind of stuff. And the most important thing with the main image, always do split testing, because it's just an image with white background. You don't know how buyers will figure out where to click. I mean, your goal is to get as many clicks as possible, and based on your judgment only, do not restrict yourself. There are some tools like PickFu that you can use, which can do instantly the split testing for you. If you don't want to use that tool, maybe do some live split testing. Put one main image for a month, second one for the second month, and see which one has brought you better results. Or not just two main images, do with the 3 or 4. Like, it's all about getting the click-through rate. The more click-through rate you have, it's going to get you more sales. It's as simple as that, right? So these are some of the things that you can do with the main image and get better results.
Nice, man. I would like to share some of my hacks as well for this, and which kind of goes even before you put your product on Amazon. So in the product creation phase, obviously there's the box, right? Which is cool. We can place it on the main image as well, yes. But it can go even deeper. And how? Well, you can add like a hanger to your product. For example, if you're even selling a garlic press, right? I don't have one here, right? But then you can add a hanger, something that would hang from it, like a little, not an insert, like a little, well, I call it a hanger. So on the hanger, you can create something eye-catching with the red colors, for example, something that will say like, if you have warranty, maybe you can have it there. And why is it in terms of service? Because it's part of the product, right? So this is something that really helped me with my click-through rates. And also what it did is you can also, if you have an insert, again, that technically is a part of the product. So you input your insert along with your product. So I'm not exactly sure what Amazon says about this, because it technically is part of the product. Maybe you have more information about this, but I never had problems with this.
And I really like the idea of, creating a hanger. It's unique.
Yeah,
It's a really cool way of,
it's
it's part
yeah,
of the product, and you're like, so yeah, that would still fall under Amazon's terms of service.
and so what we've mentioned, we mentioned generally the angle, some props that are kind of against TOS, yes, and high quality. And yeah, generally these are the things. And if you have something to add as a box, and again, make it large, like make it as large as you can, because it's just gonna get clicked more. And one question, Kamal. So for example, because I know that people optimize their main image for mobile and their main image for desktop. Can we have something that is optimized for both, or we can only have like, well, optimized for mobile, but for desktop it's going to be smaller kind of thing? Or what do you
And
think?
I think the Amazon system, the how they have designed the requirements. If the image is optimized on the desktop, it should look pretty good on the mobile as well.
Mhm.
So it won't make any difference if your image looks good on desktop. It will be equally good on Amazon app as well, the buyer's app. There's not really a special trick that you can do. And basically it's just one main image. Just create it good, and it'll look great on both.
I see, man. Cool. So that's the main image. I think these kind of cover it. I don't have any other tips to share. That seems, and I think the hanger is really nice for those listening. Take it somewhere because it can be really small. However, in a pool of products, when you're the only one that has it and people don't really use it, I don't really see it.
Yeah.
Try it. It can be used on a dog toy. It can be used on anything. So, and also another good thing is always to go to your local store. Just look around for products, and you're gonna be surprised. Yeah.
That is right.
So, and my another question, come on, man. So I was mentioning before to you about my my
Okay.
handwriting. So as I told you before, I should have been a doctor, man, because I don't understand my own handwriting. Can you tell us about the importance of? Oh yeah, can you tell us about the importance of infographic and lifestyle images, man? Like in terms of having them inside the listing, what do you think? Is it important? Well, we kind of covered it. However, still, is it mandatory, or we can kind of, what do you think?
Yeah, so it's unofficially mandatory. It's really good to have infographics and lifestyle images. The reason why I'm saying this, because people, they are visual creatures like the human beings. They like to see visuals than reading it, right? Reading is very hard. So if you can show some of your selling points or some of the pain points as an infographics, like that's really going to help the buyers to make their decision process easier. And what kind of infographics you can put is some of them are obvious. Make sure you have the sizing chart or dimensions so that people know what they're expecting. Why that it's going to help you in a lot of, it's going to help lessen your returns and some negative reviews, because there are a lot of reviews which come because people think, oh, the product was too small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some negative reviews come, hey, it didn't fit that. If you have that image, you can avoid those returns and negative reviews. So these kind of infographics. And the other thing you can do is see what, when you do the, before you even create your listing, you need to do some of your market research, see what your buyers are experiencing. You can read the negative reviews or positive reviews of your competitors. See what is the most common thing people are complaining about. That can be your infographics in your image, that this
Mm-hmm.
product does not do that. So, or maybe this product is anti something. So reading the other people's negative reviews can give you some great ideas for the infographics. And that's why it's really, really important, and people can connect with the infographics right away. Okay, perfect, this is the product I was looking for because this is the problem I have. So that can help in the conversion rate. And same thing with the lifestyle images. When you do your market research, that who is your ideal customer? Is it a female between 25 years to 35 years of age? Is it for moms? Is it for kids? Is it for fitness freak or gym people or work? See what's your target audience, and you can create the lifestyle images around the target audience. Let's say your product is for kids. actually it's not the kids who are going to buy that product, it's going to be their mom or dad. So now you need to think, what are the decision making points that moms have. Maybe moms are concerned about maybe safety of their kids. Maybe, have some image in the form of infographics or lifestyle images which talk about safety of the kid. Or
Mhm.
maybe some of these things which are related to the questions that people have. Lifestyle images and the infographics images can really help answer all those questions that buyers have, so that way they can make the decision right away and their hunt is over. What their next step is, add to cart and they buy your product. When they don't find the answers, that's when people get distracted and start looking for, they hit the back button or they click on the sponsored product because they haven't
Mm.
found the answers that they're looking for. So that is why the importance of infographics and lifestyle images are extremely high. And it is a proven fact that the listings with the infographics and lifestyle images, they tend to convert more because you are connecting with the buyers through the images. We're not talking about videos in this video, but Amazon has recently launched that all the non-brand sellers can also have videos
Yes.
on their listing pages. So you can also have a great video which can connect with the buyers. And right now, it's a perfect time to get ahead of your competitors by using the advantage of the videography. Even if you're tighter on the budget, if you don't want to hire the model or something, get a smaller video done, which still, because after images, videos are the most engaging things. So
Yeah.
people click on the video, they get all the answer. Next step they do is add to cart. They don't even have to look at bullet points and read everything. So you have answered everything through the main images. People say actions speak louder than the words, but on Amazon, images speak louder than the words. So yeah, so infographics and lifestyle images, highly important.
Yeah, man. And you've mentioned now that you got to know the customer. And I kind of say it in many of my interviews. That's like the core. Like you need to understand, well, the core may be even deeper. However, like why you're doing this and stuff like that. But like in this specific case of images, we need to know who we're selling to. And I'll give a little funny example that I also kind of give. I have friends who are Amazon sellers, and I've studied with one of them in the boarding school back in the day. So I'm really proud that the guys are crushing it now. They crushed in the previous Christmas. However, there was one funny story. So they have like a drawing board for kids, right? Which is by itself a cool product. It sells for nice, like there's good ROI, good margins, life is good. But what's funny is that when they launched, they didn't get many sales. So they kind of came to me, they're like, "Wow, man, we don't have sales." I'm like, "Yeah, let's look into your listing." So I look into their listing and they had this same drawing board with really nice pictures, but the age of the kids was about 10, 12. And the product was for toddlers that is like 2, 3 years old. Yes. So it didn't sell. When we changed the age of the kids, it started selling. So that's a good point to know. Of course, as you mentioned, we are selling to the parents, but if the parents is looking and he's looking like, well, these are like big kids, this is not for me, I need something for little kids, even if it's the same product, the demographic was not right. And yeah.
And exactly, that's where, that is part of the reason, I wanted to do this video with you, because it's nobody's fault. It's the problem is that the sellers, they are not educated
Yeah.
about the listing images.
Yeah.
And they, even the graphic designer they hired or the Photoshop expert they hired, he's not the product expert.
Yeah.
So it's not matching. So it's seller's responsibility to tell them, hey, these are my images, this is my product, this is for like maybe toddlers, or you need to need to be the one who should be
Mm-hmm.
telling the agency or the freelancer that you're hiring, because they are not the product experts. They are only, they only have a skill set, which is Photoshop or graphic design or photography, but you know your product better than anyone else, and you should be the one telling the freelancers that what's the demographics are. And it's absolutely important. I just wanted to add one example. Recently we were working on a listing. It's a skip rope,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a skip rope, and I looked at their listings, and all the listings are with the male models. And like, I asked the seller, hey, is it a unisex product? It's just a jump rope, even the ladies can use it. He's like, yeah, even ladies can use it. So what we did instead,
Mm.
just added two images with the female models or the female stock images, and that helped in the conversion. So you, now your demographic is double now,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So now you're targeting more people with the, because there's a lot of people who are confused. Maybe let's say there's a female who's browsing your listing and she doesn't see any listing with the female. She might assume that this is mainly for
men,
male,
yes, yeah,
right?
that's true.
So these are some of the things that really help when you target your demographic through the listing, lifestyle images and the infographics.
If you know your demographic to the core, you win.
Yeah.
On Amazon, on services, I don't know, anything, right? You just know the customer, and then you're like, know how to sell them, and you know that they want to be sold in this way, and you just do that, and then it's less than a sale. It's more just an interaction. Everyone's happy. That's a very good thing that kind of we can strive to. And yeah, so these are the things about the infographics and lifestyle images. Let me see if I have something else to add about this. And as I mentioned, it's like creating a story in the listing kind of thing. That's what I try doing. So even in the way that, for example, the first picture will open up, the second will make logical sense after this, the fourth one, the fifth one, the seventh one. And well, I would say always, and I said as always, connect emotionally and then logically just close the sale. So if the first images are more like lifestyle and some, people on the beach with their new beach towel, in the latter images, you can talk about your money back guarantee just to close the sale, or about the features. But first, you need to spike that imagination in the people, and then they're more excited, and sale. So yeah, that's about it. Unless you have something more to add about this, man. And
totally agree. There need to be a story. You can't just put your you can't just put images in any order. It has to be a story that how the sellers would engage, so that there's no turn off in between. You don't want you want the excitement to go up.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like you show the main stuff right in the second image, and then rest of the images are boring images, and then people feel distracted. So you want to build up that excitement when you upload those images as a image one, image two. So yeah, story is really important. Also, in the listing images, if you have more than one product, it's really important. Or if you're planning to launch more products in the same brand, make sure you do a little bit of your branding in the images. All the 7 or 9 images, they should have the branding element. It could be your brand story colors, it could be your logo colors, it could be your font. So that way, when you launch your future products in within a time, if your brand grows, so that people can immediately tell that this listing belongs to that brand, because you have a theme going on all the images. Even in the A+ content, your colors are representing your brand. If you want to grow your brand on Amazon, if you're looking to get like 50 products or 60 products on Amazon over the period of time, so it's really important to do branding, because when you're all over the place with all your 50 to 60 products, it doesn't look like, you need to make sure. So you need to think of that in advance, that your future listings will look like this. So that's why it's really important to add some branding elements to your listing, so that in future, when you do create a brand, it looks like a brand.
Yeah, even if I would say even with your first product, you can still position it as a brand, tell a story, it can go really deeper. For example, in the enhanced brand content, you can talk about the values of your brand, like core. It's really nice. Not many people do that. And one can say, well, it's not that important, but again, it's up to testing. Maybe if you add all these for your specific product, people are not interested in that. They don't want to hear too much. They just want to kind of buy it in a more simple way. However, you got to test. All right, so that's pretty cool points on kind of lifestyle infographics and images. And something that's very popular recently, I would say, well, not recently, kind of recently, it's the 3D rendering, man. So can you tell us about it a bit more? 3D rendering, how does it work? Benefits, not benefits? What Amazon says about 3D rendering? Yes.
Yeah, so 3D rendering is, end of the day, it's just a JPEG image, but it is created artificially using software, using 3D software. So what they do is they create really high quality image, which looks really, really sharp, the 3D rendering. So it's really good if you're selling some supplements or any glass products, because let's say you're selling a supplement bottle and it's a glass, it's reflective. So the quality with the real life photography will never be the same as the 3D rendering. 3D rendering images are super high quality because it's created artificially. because otherwise you will see some reflection. There will be a little bit of imperfection and lighting and everything.
Mm-hmm,
You will
mm-hmm.
see some, you can see some fingerprints or something if it's not done nicely. So 3D rendering images, they are done like artificially, but they're really high quality. But the problem with the 3D rendering is sometimes it looks too good, it looks too real, it looks too high quality that it looks fake. So that is
Mm,
my concern with some of the 3D rendering images. But I do recommend 3D rendering if your product is, let's say, supplement bottle, or if your product is something mechanical where it's not possible to showcase your product components in the 2D image. You know what I'm saying? Let's say if your product can, maybe if you think of a machine, I'm just giving out an example,
mm-hmm.
and the machine has different parts, right? So, and if you want to showcase that, 2D image will not be able to, get that crisp quality. So
I
I would
see.
go with the 3D rendering on that part. But other than that, product photography, works much better than anything else. These are the only two scenarios where I would recommend 3D rendering. Other than that, product photography is good. And as you mentioned that it's getting popular every day, you will be surprised that the sellers, they come to us, they're like, hey, I need 3D rendered image, but they don't even know that what's 3D rendered and what's not 3D rendered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there needs to be some education on the 3D rendering within the Amazon sellers. But yeah, it's done separately. It's mainly done on the white background photos. If you still need to create the lifestyle images, or if you still need to create the infographics images, then you go with the product photography, because that's going to give a much natural look. 3D rendering, as I mentioned, that it can look fake sometimes if it looks too good.
I see, man. And what Amazon Kamal says about 3D rendering? Is there any rules? Do they restrict it, or is fine with them, or there's like gray area? Do you know maybe?
No, it's not a gray area, because it's end of the day, we're only uploading JPEG format or PNG format on Amazon.
It's still the
So
same
no matter
product,
how,
yeah.
still the same, it's still the same format that Amazon requires. So no matter how it's created, whether it's created artificially or whether it's created with the professional camera or Photoshop, it's the Amazon doesn't have any problem with that.
I see, man. I might do some testing with the 3D rendering. I just mainly use just picture, main image.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in the future I will see if it's just worth the test at least. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see some, supplements image. A lot of supplement brands, they're doing this 3D rendering. So yeah, it looks pretty crisp. But yeah, so it's only good for the white background on
Yeah,
specific product.
I see, man. Kamal, thanks for sharing these interesting things about images. And I think the viewers got some good knowledge out of this. And because I've gotten some new insights to my own self, hopefully, maybe you too, from what I've shared and the viewers. And the next question I would ask you is like, it's more kind of personal. So, what made you create the company that you have right now, your service company? What made you create it? Can you tell
Yeah,
us the story maybe, or?
yeah. So when I was selling on Amazon, I really wanted to help people with how to sell on Amazon. So locally in my city, Edmonton, so I started a meetup group.
Ah,
So I was surprised. So I started a meetup group, and there was like 15 people showed up on the first meetup. And then the second meetup, same people were like joining the meetup group, and they were asking a lot of questions. Hey, how do I get started on Amazon? Hey, or even the existing sellers. Hey, where do I get the images done? Where do you get the copywriting done? Where do you find a good sourcing agent? So that's how, first I was just referring them to the people, but that made me realize that there is opportunity that people are looking for these services. Instead of me just referring to different people, why not I create my own agency and do it under our banner? So that's how the AMZ One Step started. So with the meetup group, so from Edmonton, now I run meetups across 6 different cities of Canada. There we run meetup group in Chicago as well. So because of the COVID, we're not doing any physical meetups, but our online meetups are still there. So that's how the AMZ One Step started, and this is the story.
hopefully it just grows, man. Continues growing. The COVID goes away, man, and can go back to meet up. And hopefully we can meet up, man. You're a cool guy. We actually met
No,
not too long ago, but it was could be nice to meet up, in real life and just talk
no,
and all this stuff.
I'm hoping for the same. Maybe at some conference or something, we'll get a chance to see you.
I see, man. Yeah, and Kamal, for my viewers, maybe people who randomly stumbled upon this video, maybe you have some benefit to share for your services that could help people that are, friends here in my channel or just people who browse. maybe.
Yeah, so if any of your viewers who use your coupon code, we're offering 10% off on any service, and it's a lifetime thing. So as long as you have that coupon code, yeah, just come to us, and we'll take care of your listing images and make sure we create some good listings for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the coupon description. There's gonna be a link to Kamal's services website, so you can go check and see what you think. And if it's also an affiliate link, means that if you'll ever do some business with Kamal and his company, I'm gonna get a little commission from that, although with no extra cost to you, only the discount. And I just recommend people services that I get in touch with that are cool, that I like, that in my kind of spirit, and it is mainly done for the viewers. So yeah, and man, I want to thank you for your time, for your wisdom today with us. It was really fun, and you have on the background the Paris, how you call it,
Yeah,
the
yes.
so maybe we can travel soon. I really miss that, freely around countries, and but yeah, man, really thank you for coming, man.
Thanks a lot, Boba. It was a pleasure talking to you.
See you in the next time, man. Hopefully again here. Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, man.